All right, so would you guys rather have one Bitcoin or $1,000 cash?
$1,000 cash for sure.
No, a Bitcoin.
A thousand. You're
A
retarded.
Bitcoin's
No,
worth like
definitely
$1,000,000.
$1,000. Bitcoin's not even like a real thing.
A Bitcoin's like worth $1 million.
Shut up, you're stupid.
No,
It's-
definitely
No,
$1,000.
$1,000.
$1,000 for
Why? Why?
sure. Because it's like actually real money. You get it like in your
No,
hand.
but Bitcoin turns into money.
That's not even real money. No, no.
No, it's
Definitely.
real money. No, a Bitcoin. A Bitcoin.
1,000.
2 versus 1. $1,000. $1,000. We'll take it. Hey!
Raindrops are falling on my head, and just like the guy whose feet are too big for his bed, nothing seems to fit. Those raindrops are...
What's going on, guys? K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. Bitcoin and Ethereum both down today. Now, we were expecting a bit of a pullback, but why exactly is it dumping? Well, it's obviously because Vitalik broke up with his girlfriend. At least that's the rumor that Justin Sun is saying. He says rumor has it that the crypto market and ETH price are down because Vitalik ended things with his girlfriend. For the sake of the crypto industry, I volunteered to introduce him to a new partner. Let's get things back on track. All right, no guys, let's be serious about what's actually going on right now with the Bitcoin and crypto price. So we have had a pullback. I do want to talk about why there is a very important level for Bitcoin. Now, we can have a healthy pullback, which is what we're having right now, but there is something we have to pay attention to that we do not want to happen in the Bitcoin chart. And I'm going to be very specific about what we're looking at and what Bitcoin needs to do. Now, in the same hand, we also have just globally this sort of de-dollarization continuing as the BRICS countries are literally buying tons of gold. So what does that mean? Could it actually be bullish for Bitcoin? Or is it just sort of, this narrative that the Bitcoiners like to put out there? Because also, we just got news that Argentina is basically running out of US dollars, and they started going into depositors' bank accounts, like your and my bank account, and they started taking the money out, and then the government basically just shut down. Yeah, it's crazy stuff, guys. So we have a lot of FUD that's still going on with the SEC right now, but there may be a silver lining. In fact, we've recently had MiCA come out in the UK, and you may not have known this, but a crypto guy now is currently actually in the White House. So we got a lot to talk about today. Very kind of like random video, lots of just different pieces to the puzzle today. So if you want to get the full content, the value out of it, make sure you guys stick around to the end of the video. And of course, I'm going to remind you guys every day until the day, Bitcoin Miami 2023, and unfortunately I tried to tell you guys on both Twitter and in my video that the prices are going to increase. So now the prices are at their full capacity. So again, if you guys do want to still go and you want to get that 10% discount, just use the link below in the description. Unfortunately, the prices are a little bit higher right now. So I think a bird just flew into my window. That was crazy. Did you guys hear that? Anyway, that was really weird. It was just, and also what's weird is that's not the first time that's happened. Creepy, right? Anyway, so having a look at what's going on right now, we could see right here that, again, this was sort of the blue area. It's pretty obvious why this area was so significant. If you go back here, you can see that this was the top of the previous high, and you can see that we also had consolidation right there, right? Now, flipping it over, we also had support, and then the support flipping resistance, right? So basically, in a nutshell, everything inside of this blue area is really just kind of where we could expect Bitcoin to hang out, and we could go down to any of these levels. Obviously, this level right here is very significant because if we zoom in, we could basically see that this is where we had the Terra Luna crash, and then we had the retest right here, and then we had the retest right here. Both times hard rejection, right? Because we actually had this wick down there, and we have not actually technically come back down and touched it yet, right? So this is telling me that, remember, this was originally our resistance, 25,300, give or take. That's sort of the area now that I believe we're looking to flip, because as you could see, we've had this crossover, right over here on the wave edge. And it looks to me like we could be entering into potential green money flow over on Market Cipher. So again, over here, if you remember, and I'm not trying to brag, but I'm pretty sure I was one of the few, I think I was the first person to coin this triple threat. And what we were talking about was we had the death cross, we had the downward sloping resistance, and we had the linear resistance, and they all right here, you guys see where they just all kind of crossed over each other in this crazy madness. And if we zoom in, do you remember what happened? Oh, sorry, let me take that off. Look at this, guys. What happened? Look at what happened right here. Look, we got caught up in that crossfire, and look what happened, top to bottom. That was a 22, almost 23% Bitcoin pullback. So major area. And then what did we do? We broke above it finally. So realistically, you know, again, and this is just how charts work. I'm trying to give you guys a little bit of, if you don't really understand, you know, you always want to basically retest, resistances and supports to confirm them, right? Because if you don't confirm them and you just blast right through them, what could end up happening is an even larger crash down the line, right? So it would actually make more sense for Bitcoin to just simply come down here, right? We have this 200 weekly kind of coming up like this. So, you know, even a quick fake out down here to that 25.1, 25.3 level. Currently, if you actually look at the 200, that's sitting at 25,845. That is the weekly. So that is basically what we're looking for, guys. On the weekly, we're looking for something to go down to around 25,100 to 25,300, and then ultimately close that week above 25,800. That's what we're looking for, and that's what I think is a very likely possibility. Now, if we fall below that and we start losing some of these key levels, you know, falling below some of these major slopes, heading all the way back down here again, although it would still technically be an uptrend for Bitcoin, it wouldn't be as confident of a trend like we're in right now, right? So if you guys are interested in trading, you guys know I have a bunch of free videos. Check out the tutorial, lots of bonuses and stuff below if you guys want. And get subscribed because we go over this every single day for free. But like Stock Money Lizards pointed out, he says the 3-month chart after bear markets, we always saw a strong first, second quarter post bear market. After these huge green candles, we usually find a bit of a cool down. Short, midterm, still bullish, 3 months, but don't expect it to go too fast. And you can see basically 2012, every time, major pump, 85%, we kind of stall out. 80%, we stall out. 160, we actually have a pullback, right there. 72% currently kind of just chilling, right? So he's basically saying that, you know, you don't, number one, you don't want it to just go straight up, and realistically, that's not probably what's going to happen. Now, if you have a look at what's going on, assuming that Bitcoin is still correlated to the S&P, having a look right here, excuse me, you can see that the S&P is actually getting at a critical level as well right here, and we're forming sort of a triangle right here, which means that probably by the first week of May, we're going to have a huge answer on whether or not we're going to have basically stock markets continue rallying, or if we are gonna, you know, end up falling to the downside. And the other thing, sorry guys, allergies lately. It's been really bad with the pollen. So if my voice sounds a little bit, but looking at the dollar right here, you can actually see that the dollar did have a bounce off of this critical sort of resistance support that we spoke about, but it was a weak bounce and it ended up putting in a lower high. So, you know, basically in a nutshell, you know, if the dollar can't hold above this and it continues to fall, then I think you are going to see that inverse relationship. But something that's kind of crazy that's been going on right now globally is what, you know, a lot of people are saying de-dollarization. But according to a new report from U.S. global investors, the nations collectively known as the BRICS, right? So Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, they have been buying massive amounts of gold, like literally tons of gold. Frank Holmes, he's the CEO of the firm that put this out, whatever. Yeah, I don't know who the firm was. But anyway, he was saying that for the first time ever, the BRICS countries' share of the global economy has surpassed that of the G7 nations on a purchasing parity basis. So that would be like Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, UK, US. According to a report from World Gold Council, China has added 102 tons of gold. The BRICS need the precious metal to support their currencies and shift away from the US dollar, which has served as the global foreign reserve currency. Now, it's kind of interesting because, you know, if you go over here, you're not really seeing a lot of, you know, so they're just kind of accumulating up here, I guess, or maybe this was them buying. I don't really know specifically where they're getting it from, but it does make you wonder. We know China's not cool with Bitcoin, but yet Hong Kong, the financial hub, is dabbling in crypto again. So is it possible, again, and it's one of those things where I remember when we said that one of these days, a politician would get paid in Bitcoin, or they would put Bitcoin on the balance sheet of a country, and people said that would never happen. And then El Salvador became the first country to adopt it, right? So I think the same thing could happen. People are like, oh, they're not gonna buy Bitcoin. Well, they could. I mean, like Ron Paul puts it, over the last 20 years, international dollar reserves have dropped significantly. The world is clearly de-dollarizing. America's endless war, sanctions, wokeism, nihilism, and unconstitutional abuses appear to have turned off other nations. They're done just going along. America was never supposed to be an empire in the first place. It's a century-old aberration. A return to a limited government that respects individual liberty is long overdue. So, yeah. I mean, it's definitely not like good news, right? We haven't exactly had some good news coming out. And, just pointing out what Scott Melker said, Janet Yellen said that the U.S. government will not hesitate to punish Chinese companies that violate its Russia sanctions policy. And, he basically says these morons are going to print so much money. So that's probably what's going to end up happening, again, is the money printer is going to get turned on. Insane. Then this has been confirmed by multiple sources that Argentina's central bank has run out of US dollars and started using customer deposits of USD. Inflation running hot at 104%. Yes, you actually heard that right. It has suspended operations for Monday. They basically shut down, right? So they say it's happening, right? Well, what's happening? Well, I guess that depends on what you believe could be happening. I believe that we're having a global shift. I think it's happening in front of our eyes. And I do think Bitcoin could position itself front and center. But what is frustrating is what they're doing, really, with this. Paradigm says SEC's current framework is unsuitable for crypto. Paradigm says that tokens analysis have been further complicated by the SEC staff's suggestion that a token's status can morph from being a security to a non-security and potentially even go back again. In fact, there was an interview on CNBC. For some reason, I was trying to find the clip, but I couldn't get the one I was looking for. So Jay Clayton agrees with Gary Gensler that securities cover a very wide swath of crypto, but says courts are not the places to resolve asset classifications. Well, if you keep finding people at Did Kraken not, wasn't the whole thing is that they were offering staking services, right? So please enlighten me, but they won't tell you what is or isn't a security. But yet there was a video of Gary Gensler saying that ETH was a security. Now maybe, I don't know, if it flips back to proof of stake, maybe that makes it a security again. I don't know, because there's power of individuals and people. But again, it's all based on the opinions of these guys. And it's crazy. You're finding Kraken $30 million, but yet you can't even say if Ethereum is or isn't a security. And the one time that you do say, you say that we agreed that it may have morphed into not being a security. So basically, they can do whatever they want. CNBC asked Clayton the same question that they asked Gary Gensler, is Ethereum a security? Which Gensler didn't answer. And he responded, things can go from being a security to not a security. So check this out. In a 2018 speech by William Hinman, the then director of the SEC's Division of Corporation Finance, he said looking at the way a crypto asset is sold is the best way to tell whether it is or isn't a security. Nothing that current offers and sales of Ether are not security transactions. Sorry, I read that weird. But Clayton agreed with this. He said in an interview that, for example, if Broadway tickets received for investing in a yet-to-be produced play are obtained or purchased, that would be a security. But tickets bought years later to see the show would not. So he then says Ethereum, or Ether, specifically the coin, has many more hallmarks of just being a ticket than it does being a means to raise money. Which is, okay, so he still doesn't really say if it is or isn't, but this is heavily alluding to the fact that Ether is not a security, right? I mean, I think that's kind of where he's going here. So again, we just need that clarity. But in the US, you got Yellen proposing tougher rules for non-banks providing financial services. Again, just making it tougher for crypto. And, what is this doing? It's pushing things offshore. Now, of course, there are still those in the US, like, for example, Mayor Suarez I guess he was in a discussion with Google CEO Eric Schmidt, and there were like some ambiguous kind of statements that he made where he was kind of joking or insinuating that he might run for president. I don't know if that's the case, but you know, he was one. I think he was the first person to take a couple paychecks in Bitcoin in the U.S. Bitcoin Miami, right? I hope you guys are going. I'm telling you, it's it's a really great time. He's there, so you know you are seeing that there are people pushing back. Something also that a lot of people didn't realize went under the radar was President Joe Biden's new communication director actually has a history with crypto, including publicly disclosed holdings in Bitcoin and Ethereum. So his new communications director, Ben LeBolt, will be allowed to advise the president and his administration on crypto, but will not be allowed to participate in legal matters, investigations, and contracts with crypto firms he's previously worked with. So according to public disclosure, he has worked at Bully Pulpit Interactive, and his clients included Andreessen Horowitz, huge investor in crypto stuff, if you guys know. And of course, Uniswap. If you don't know who Uniswap is, well, I don't know what to tell you. According to LinkedIn, LeBolt was at the Bully Pulpit at the same time as Uniswap's head of communications, Bridget Frey, who left the company to join Uniswap last July. So, I mean, we got a crypto guy. He says he owns crypto. He's a communications director involved. You know, so I mean, you know, you're seeing slowly but surely, but we're not quite there just yet. But, you know, like I said in my previous video, this is huge. The EU's markets in crypto assets, or MiCA, regulation could become a global standard. And you can see they say a lot of crypto platforms are welcoming this as a sign that the EU is leading the way in crypto. I mean, Brian Armstrong, he's over here meeting with the UK Economic Secretary and City Minister, and he says that they're moving forward and fast on sensible crypto regulation to both drive economic growth and consumer protection. And I think that the US really should kind of look at what the UK is doing. I mean, if anyone's watching from the UK right now, you know, hopefully this isn't just the media making it look like a pie in the sky dream, you know, but like I said, these guys are pretty happy about it. The exchanges are pretty happy about it. So basically, the MiCA will affect centralized crypto exchanges that do business, and it could also shape the crypto regulation elsewhere. So, you know, maybe this is the beginning of that framework. You know what I'm saying, guys? And, you know, the other thing, too, is regardless, innovation still continues. You have Bitcoin now available on the wallet web interface for Telegram, you know, right here. And now you can buy, exchange, receive, and swap USDT for Bitcoin. Somebody said that it's not available for US. I'm not really surprised, but you know, again, I don't know. VPNs, I don't know. I'm not gonna say anything. Apparently, it might be illegal to talk about VPNs one of these days if the Restrict Act goes through, and you know, so gotta be careful everything you say today, guys. But again, guys, I will see you at Bitcoin Miami. I'm sorry that, like, you know, there's not really any like crazy news right now, and the markets have been kind of boring. I think we're in that limbo land, but I know that we usually have these kind of calm before the storms, right? So pay close attention, and obviously most significantly is that we stay above this level. This is like the big warning, critical, whatever you want to call it, zone. I don't want to see Bitcoin fall below 25,100 for too long. And I don't want to see us close a weekly candle below the 200 weekly because, you know, as you guys can see right here, you know, huge support. So that's really what we're paying attention to, guys. So ultimately, that is it for me. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. Very broad update today, lots of different things. But at the end of the day, you know what we can say? It's better that we're having these discussions because I remember in 2017 and 2018, these discussions weren't even being had. People were just completely dismissing crypto. Totally. Like, not even paying attention to it. Like, who cares? It doesn't even matter. It's so small. And it's never going to affect anything. And now people are having the discussions. So that is just a huge shift in its own. And I think that that discussion is going to continue to grow as the space evolves. And I hope for all of my US friends and everyone here that the US really doesn't shoot themselves in the foot and, you know, finds a way to do this in a way that benefits everyone. So that's it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You're awesome. I hope you're having a great weekend. I have a feeling next week could get a little bit crazy. I got a hunch I got a hunch that it's been a little too calm around here, right? So that's it for me. Thank you for coming back to the channel. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. And yeah, if you guys are learning to trade, free tutorial right now, very calm waters, good time to practice. That's it for me, guys. Until next time, stay crypto, and of course, peace out.